Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2. It's a great day to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. Let's jump right in. So, there's been a lot of talk lately about Jalen Ramsey becoming a Pittsburgh Steeler. And my first instinct is to say, yes, absolutely. But then every time I sit there and really think about it, I say to myself, why does a player of Jalen Ramsey's caliber, why is he always being traded? We don't really hear that much about Jalen Ramsey in the locker room. And a lot of NFL players aren't going to air out their teammates and tell the truth about their behavior. I mean, look at George Pickens for the last couple of years. It was like pulling teeth. Now, finally, guys are starting to open up a little bit. But when I think about Jalen Ramsey and how dominant that he's been, why does he keep getting traded? Why are the teams that he plays for always interested in trading him away? So that makes me wary. Would I want Jalen Ramsey on a one-year deal? Yeah, absolutely. Because it'll be a major upgrade from what the Pittsburgh Steelers have right now. I love Joey Porter Jr. I love Darius Slay, but after that, there is a huge drop off. If you bring Jalen Ramsey in to play that slot position, that slot corner, I think you're putting an absolute stud at slot corner. It kind of reminds me of what the Philadelphia Eagles did with Cooper DeJean. And once the Philadelphia Eagles did that with Cooper DeJean, it changed their whole season dramatically, where they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Prior to Cooper DeJean starting for the Philadelphia Eagles were struggling on defense. I don't want to hear that it's not an important position, that slot corner. I don't want to hear, well, automatically the third corner always goes to the slot. That is not the right attitude to take. There is no more important part of the field than the inner part of the field in the NFL, going up those seams over the middle. You have to take away that part of the field from other NFL teams to win. And we saw that with the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you bring in Jalen Ramsey to the mix and he's your slot corner, whether you play him, I want to see him on the inside. It'll be absolutely phenomenal for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm just hoping he can keep his mental game together or whatever it is that's going on, why he keeps being traded away from teams. If he's a great player and the ability's there and he keeps getting traded, what's the problem? We don't hear a lot of I know I research it all the time and I don't see a lot being written about him being a bad teammate. So it doesn't make sense to me. So let's see what Mark Capoli had to say. Bet you they're listening. Capoli speculates on Steelers' interest in Jalen Ramsey. I bet you they're listening. I mean, the salary is not bad. It's a one-year deal, really, right? Because I think he has no guarantees past this year, Capoli said via the 93.7 The Fans morning show. Now, people say, where do you put him? I don't care. I mean, well, I know where you put him. You put him at slot corner and you keep him there. You make him a Cooper DeJean. You make him dominate the middle of the field. It's harder to throw the football into the boundaries. I don't know why the Pittsburgh Steelers and Coach Tomlin, he's a defensive coach, always take it like the slot corner is not an important position. We could have had Cooper DeJean in the draft, but the Pittsburgh Steelers chose to draft Troy Fontana. Now, Troy better play lights out this year because, again, remember what Cooper DeJean did for the Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I'm not just talking about the interception in the Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles went from a mid defense to the best defense in the NFL once he stepped on the field. I mean, to me, this is a no brainer. If Jalen Ramsey is still available, I think you definitely need to bring him in and put him in the black and gold. It's only going to make our defense better and have more depth at this position. It's a no brainer. He needs to be signed by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's not asking for a ton of money, or he's not going to get a ton of money. It'll definitely make the defense better. I don't know what there is to think about. Like the Steelers are constantly bringing in players on offense that are nothing but problems. Give the guy a one-year deal on defense and see how it goes and take it from there. He needs to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. There's been some rumors going around about Mike Hilton rejoining the Steelers. I thought he was absolutely excellent as a Pittsburgh Steeler. He blitzed off the edge. Excellent. I was really shocked I'm not saying the Steelers let him walk, but when he was able to walk out of the building and sign with Cincinnati, I thought that was a big mistake. The Steelers are quite familiar with Hilton, too. He spent the first 4 years of his career with the Steelers, playing in 59 games with 20 starts, recording 237 tackles, 9.5 sacks. and 36 tackles for loss and 7 interceptions. So right now, if you brought in Mike Hilton and Jalen Ramsey, just think what that would do to the room, the secondary room. I just don't see how you don't bring in Jalen Ramsey and Mike Hilton. All it's going to do is make the team so much better. The depth at cornerback will go from having virtually none to being in excellent position to win the Super Bowl. That's what it's all about, winning the Super Bowl. Pittsburgh Steelers know what they have to do. They need to sign both of these players. To me, it's a complete no-brainer. Joey Porter Sr. on the Cam Hayward podcast, he says as a coach, he'd be devastated if players showed up late. Go figure. He went on to say, do not F up Friday just for the team. Porter said, you show up late, it's already effed up because this is the last dress rehearsal. We don't want nobody to be late that day, to no meetings, to no practice, nothing. I used to think they were just being anal and tripping. He said he didn't realize until he started coaching how bad losing hurt. As a coach, he said, I don't get to right my own wrongs. Instead, Porter has to install in players like George Pickens the game plan and the trust that will execute it. And when the plan or the execution doesn't work, you blame yourself. But if your player isn't even showing up on time, that's another issue. I'm responsible for these guys, and these guys are going to be a reflection of me. I'm really about to find out how much my guys F with me or not. Do they really like me or not? Porter said, proceeding with the comments that have referenced Pickens. For real, because some of the stuff that goes on that you hear about, I would be devastated if my players did that, didn't respect me enough to be where they supposed to be, or you know what, like that. That's all respect level there. That's right. And he's not saying George Pickens, but that's exactly why George Pickens doesn't wear the black and gold anymore. Because not only does George Pickens not have respect for himself, the fan base, the city of Pittsburgh, he doesn't even have respect for his teammates or his coaches to show up on time. And I'm so happy he's no longer a Pittsburgh Steeler. We all know who Joey Porter Sr. is referring to. From all indications, if you're a problem player and you can't play for Coach Tomlin, you ain't going to make it anywhere. That's the old saying. If you can't make it in Pittsburgh, you ain't going to make it anywhere. And I predict that George Pickens will be out of the NFL in less than 3 years, and him and his father have nobody to blame but themselves. It's also being reported that the locker room really likes Aaron Rodgers. I say this from talking to them. We've all talked to the guys. I think their impression was better than they anticipated. Hawthorne said of Rodgers, according to video via KDKA. I think most of them are like, yeah, he's a cooler guy. He is more normal than what you hear about because you hear so many things about Aaron Rodgers. Once they experienced him at least for 3 days, I think they were pleasantly surprised with what they saw. And that's because the national media and racist Ryan Clark and woke ESPN and Stephen A. Smith, the clown, all they do is lie about Aaron Rodgers. Never once in Aaron Rodgers' 20-year career has any player he's ever played with came out and said he's a bad teammate. I'm tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again. And the national media and some Pittsburgh insiders and the local Pittsburgh media owe Aaron Rodgers an apology. He's been nothing but upfront with the Pittsburgh Steelers, with the issues he's been having with his family, and everybody took that and ran with it and just made up nothing but a bunch of lies about Aaron Rodgers. And I'm going to end it with that. Thanks for tuning in to Steel City Football, the 4-1-2.